Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. The difference between the average person and the millionaire is not luck, it's not chance, pain, it's not some secret nobody told you about. The words that come out of your mouth every single morning are not just sounds in the air. They are seeds in the soil of your future. The reason so many people never walk into abundance is because they speak themselves out of it before the day even begins. Paying your mouth is a steering wheel, and if you keep turning it toward limitation, lack, and defeat, then that's exactly where your life will end up. Paying. But if you grab hold of the power of your tongue and you declare wealth, success, favor, and increase, you will begin to steer your life into the destination of prosperity. Paying millionaires understand this principle at the deepest level. They know that declarations shape destiny. Paying, they don't just wake up and let life tell them how it's going to go. They wake up and tell life how it's going to go. And the truth is, paying, the words you say about yourself are more important than the words anybody else says about you. If you don't call yourself wealthy, paying, it doesn't matter if someone else calls you broke. If you don't call yourself favored, it doesn't matter if the world calls you overlooked. Paying, the power is not in what others declare about you. The power is in what you declare about yourself. This is why millionaires don't start their day with complaining, paying with gossip, with negativity, or with talking about what's missing. They start their day with commanding words, with affirmations of abundance, paying with declarations that set the tone. You see, the brain like a software system. It runs on whatever program you install. If you speak defeat, paying, your brain will look for evidence to prove you right. If you speak victory, your brain will also look for evidence to prove you right. Paying, that's why it's not enough to just hope for wealth. You've got to declare it until your mind aligns with it and your actions follow. And every single word you speak is programming your subconscious, and your subconscious is directing your habits. Habits create results. Results create reality. Paying, it all starts with your words. Think about it like this. When God created the world, He didn't bid it with His hands. He spoke it into existence. He said, "And let there be," and it was. That means speaking is a creative act. If you want light in your financial world, you've got to speak it. If you want abundance, paying, you've got to call it forth. If you want increase, you've got to declare it every day until what you see matches what you say. And some people say, well, paying, I don't want to lie to myself by saying I'm wealthy when I don't see it. But let me tell you something. Faith is not lying. Paying, faith is declaring what will be until it shows up in your life. You don't speak what you see, you speak what you believe, and eventually you will see what you speak. Paying, millionaires train their mouths before they train their money. They know that declarations build belief, and belief builds behavior. That's why. Paying, while the average person wakes up and reacts, the wealthy wake up and create. They create their day with their words. They create their confidence with their words. And they create their vision with their words. And every time they repeat those declarations, they're reinforcing a reality that will eventually manifest. Paying, so if you want to change your destiny, stop seeking lack and start speaking wealth. Stop saying, I can't afford that, and start saying, paying, I'm finding ways to afford that. Stop saying, I'll never be successful, and start saying, success is chasing me down today. Your life will always move in the direction of your dominant declaration. If you don't like where you're headed, change the words coming out of your mouth, because declarations don't just describe your future, they design your future. Millionaires know it, they practice it, and that's why they live it. Millionaires don't waste their life chasing after dollars like a man chasing after the wind. Paying, they understand something far deeper. Money is nothing more than the byproduct of value. When you look at the richest people in the world, paying, they are not rich simply because they wanted money. They are rich because they created something valuable and multiplied, and money flowed to them as a result. Paying, that's why the second declaration is so powerful. I create value that multiplies. When you wake up in the morning and declare this over your life, paying, you are reminding yourself that your wealth doesn't come from wages alone. It comes from worth. It comes from what you contribute to the marketplace. And the problem with most people is that they focus more on what they are earning than on what they are becoming. But millionaires focus on the value they bring. Paying, because they know value is the magnet that pulls wealth into their lives. Think about it. Money follows solutions. Paying, nobody pays you just because they like your face or your name. They pay you because you solved a problem for them. The bigger the problem you solve, the more money you make. And so when millionaires declare, I create value that multiplies, they are not only claiming their ability to solve problems, paying, but they're also affirming their ability to do it in a way that grows beyond themselves. Multiplication is different from addition. Addition means I work an hour. Pain, I get paid for an hour. Multiplication means I do work once and it pays me over and over again. Millionaires design their lives around multiplication, not just addition. Pain, they build businesses, create systems, write books, produce assets, make investment. All because those things multiply while they sleep. When the average person wakes up, pain, they think about survival. How can I get through the day? How can I pay this bill? But millionaires think about expansion. How can I serve more people today? Pain, how can I create something that multiplies beyond me? How can I take the seed of an idea and turn it into a forest of opportunity? Pain, this mindset shift is what separates the wealthy from the broke. The broke man thinks only about wages. The wealthy man thinks about wealth streams. Pain, and here's the truth. If you wake up declaring that you create value that multiplies, your brain begins searching for ways to do it. It starts to notice opportunities others miss. It starts to see possibilities others ignore. Your declarations tune your mind to a different frequency. And on that frequency, pain, you begin attracting multiplication. You see, money is attracted to purpose. When you create value that multiplies, you are aligning yourself with the law of increase. The Bible even says, be fruitful and multiply. That's not just about children, that's about everything in your life. Fruitfulness means producing something of value. Pain and multiplication means expanding your immediate effort. Millionaires live this verse daily. They produce through ideas, businesses, pay investments, and then they multiply them through systems and strategies. And the best part, anybody can start doing this. You don't need to be a millionaire to declare it. Paying, you just need to believe it enough to begin. So if you want to step into the realm of wealth, start speaking this declaration every morning. Paying, then create value, then back it up with action. Don't just work for money, work for multiplication. Ask yourself, how can this task multiply? Paying, how can this skill multiply? How can this idea multiply? Because when you position yourself as a person who multiplies value, paying, money will no longer be something you run after. Money will run after you. That's why millionaires never worry about running out of money. Paying, and as long as they are creators of value that multiplies, wealth will keep showing up in their lives. Your mind is the greatest factory on earth. Paying, but most people let it sit idle like a machine gathering dust. Millionaires understand that wealth is not first created in their hands, it is created in their heads. Paying, every business you see, every skyscraper you walk past, every app you download, every product you purchase, before it ever existed in the physical world, it existed in someone's imagination. That's why the declaration, my mind is a factory of ideas, is so powerful. Paying reminds you every morning that your greatest resource is not money, not connections, not even time. Your greatest resource is the creative power of your mind. Paying, ideas are the currency of wealth, and the person who consistently produces valuable ideas will never run out of opportunities to prosper. Think about it. A single idea changes an entire industry. A single idea can create a fortune that lasts for generations. A single idea can move you from poverty to prosperity. Paying. But here's the challenge, most people never value their thoughts. They think their job is to trade time for money, so they never give themselves permission to think. Paying, they fill their minds with distractions. Social media, television, gossip, things that crowd out creativity. Millionaires, on the other hand, paying, guard their minds like a treasure chest. They feed their minds with knowledge, with wisdom, with mentorship, with scripture, with books. Why? Paying. Because they know that whatever goes in must eventually come out. If you fill your mind with nonsense, your ideas will be nonsense. Paying, but if you fill your mind with inspiration and insight, your ideas will carry power. Your mind is a factory. Paying, and every morning you open up and decide what kind of production line it will run. Will it manufacture excuses, or will it manufacture solutions? Will it produce fear, paying, or will it produce faith? Will it give you reasons why you can't, or strategies for how you can? The beauty of a factory is that it can be retooled. Paying, even if you're running the wrong program for years, you can decide today to reprogram it. How? Through declaration. When you wake up and declare, Pam, my mind is a factory of ideas. You are programming your subconscious to look for ideas all day long. You are telling your brain that it is valuable, creative, and innovative. And guess what? Your brain will obey. It will start connecting dots you never noticed before. Pain. It will start generating insights in the middle of ordinary moments. It will begin to prove your declaration right. Pain. The wealthy are not just consumers of ideas. They are producers. They don't wait for someone else to hand them the next big thing. They trust their minds to deliver it. They believe their ideas have value, and because they believe it, they act on it. Most people kill their ideas before they're even born by saying, Paying, that's stupid, or they'll never work. Millionaires don't do that. They honor their ideas. They write them down, they nurture them, they test them. Pain, they bring them to likes. Not every idea works, but every idea is worth respecting because you never know which one will be the breakthrough. Remember, God designed you in His image and He is the creator. That means creativity is in your DNA. You don't have to be an artist or an inventor to be creative. Pain, you just have to believe that your mind was designed to produce. The more you declare it, the more you will see it manifest. So instead of saying, pain, I'm not smart enough, or I don't have any good ideas, start saying, my mind is a factory of ideas. And every idea I need is coming to me right now. Speak it, believe it, and watch how your creativity explodes. Because the truth is, pain, you are one idea away from changing your financial future. You are one idea away from starting that business, writing that book, launching that product, pain, or creating that system that multiplies wealth. But the idea will only show up if you value your mind enough to declare its power every single morning. Pain, millionaires know that the factory of the mind is their greatest asset, and they never let it sit idle. They run it day and night, producing thoughts that turn into things. Pain, that is why their wealth keeps multiplying. Millionaires are not just dreamers, they are doers. Pain, they understand that the between vision and manifestation is discipline and decisiveness. Without discipline, your dreams dissolve into wishful thinking. And without decisiveness, your opportunities pass you by. That is why one of the most powerful declarations they make every morning is, I am disciplined and decisive. It sets the tone for how they show up to the world. When they say those words, pain, they are aligning their thoughts and actions with the truth that wealth requires structure, consistency, and boldness. Average people wait for motivation. Pain, disciplined people act regardless of motivation. Average people hesitate when opportunities appear. Decisive people move without delay. From pain, and that difference creates a gap wide enough to separate the wealthy from the struggling. Discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done whether you feel like it or not. It is the refusal to let feelings dictate outcomes. Pain, the world is filled with people with big goals but no discipline to see them through. They say they want to build a business, but they sleep until noon. Pain, they say they want financial freedom, but they spend money recklessly. They say they want to grow, but they waste hours scrolling on distractions. Pain, millionaires discipline their time, their habits, their finances, and their focus. They treat their minutes like money because they know time is a non-renewable resource. Pain, when you declare every morning that you're disciplined, you're programming yourself to take control of your habits instead of letting your habits take control of you. Pain, but discipline alone is not enough. Decisiveness is its partner. Opportunity is like a moving train. If you hesitate, it will pass you by. Pain. People who live in poverty often live there because they second-guess themselves into paralysis. They overthink until the window of opportunity closes. Millionaires, on the other hand, declare, I am decisive, and they train themselves to act quickly on good information. Pain, they don't wait until conditions are perfect because they know perfection is a myth. They make the best decision they can with the information they have, and they adjust along the way. Their success doesn't come from always being right, it comes from always being in motion. A wrong decision can be corrected, but no decision keeps you stuck. When you combine discipline with decisiveness, you create unstoppable momentum. Discipline keeps you consistent over time. Pain and decisiveness gives you speed in the moment. That's why millionaires seem to outpace everyone else. They're not necessarily smarter, and they're simply faster and more consistent. They wake up early, they stick to their priorities, they cut out distractions, and when an idea or opportunity presents itself, and they move before fear has time to talk them out of it. And it all begins with their morning declaration. Words are powerful. When you repeatedly say, pain, I am disciplined and decisive, your subconscious begins to align your behavior with that identity. Soon you start showing up differently, making different choices, and producing different results. Discipline is also freedom disguised as restriction. It may feel tough in the moment to say no to laziness or to control your spending. Pain, but those small acts of discipline are what buy you the freedom of wealth and time in the future. Decisiveness works the same way. Pain, it may feel risky to act boldly when you don't have every answer, but the truth is that wealth rewards courage, not caution. Pain, the people who win big are not the ones who wait for guarantees, they're the ones who act with faith. So when you rise in the morning and speak, pain, I am disciplined and decisive, you are declaring to yourself, to the universe, that you are not like everyone else. You are not ruled by feelings. You are ruled by vision. You are not stuck in hesitation. You are propelled by action. And over time, those words will shape your habits. Paying those habits will shape your results. The disciplined and decisive will always rise, while the undisciplined and indecisive remain stuck. Paying, that is why millionaires make this declaration daily, and it is why you must as well if you intend to step into wealth. Paying millionaires don't live life waiting for a miracle to fall out of the sky. They live with the expectation that opportunities are everywhere, every day, waiting to be seized. That is why one of their declarations each morning is, "I attract opportunities daily." This is not just positive thinking. Paying, it is a way of training them to look for open doors, hidden possibilities, and divine appointments that others walk past without ever noticing. The truth is, paying opportunities are all around us, but you will only see them if your mind is tuned to look for them. Most people miss opportunities because they are focused on problems. Paying. Millionaires attract opportunities because they are focused on solutions. When you declare that opportunities are chasing you down, paying, your mind automatically filters your environment to spot connections, ideas, and doors that others would call coincidence, but you know is alignment. Paying, this declaration shifts you from a victim mentality to a victor mentality. Poor thinking says, "Nothing ever works out for me, nobody ever helps me, and opportunities never come my way." But wealthy thinking says, "Everything is working together for my good. People are looking for me right now." Paying and opportunities are attracted to me like a magnet. What you expect, you attract. If you wake up expecting nothing, you will likely receive nothing. And paying, if you wake up expecting opportunities, you begin to live on a higher frequency where doors open and relationships align. Paying, and this is not about magic, it's about awareness and positioning. Your brain has something called the reticular activating system. It notices what you tell it to notice. Paying, if you declare, "I attract opportunities daily," your brain will filter the thousands of things happening around you and highlights that match your expectation. Paying, that's why opportunities seem invisible to some people and obvious to others. It's not that they aren't there, it's that people aren't trained to see them. Paying, when millionaires make this declaration, they are reminding themselves that every day is full of potential. A casual conversation could turn into a partnership. Paying, a problem they encounter could turn into a business idea. A challenge could turn into innovation. Paying, they live with the belief that nothing is wasted and everything is connected. This mindset keeps them alert and proactive instead of passive. Paying, they don't sit around waiting for opportunity. They create it by being prepared, persistent, and positioned. But the moment you declare, "Paying, I attract opportunities daily," you also begin to carry yourself differently. You walk with confidence. You speak with clarity. You listen more carefully. And in doing so, paying, you start drawing people and possibilities toward you that would have ignored you otherwise. Opportunities also flow to people who are ready. Paying. That is why millionaires invest in themselves, constantly learning, networking, growing. They don't just wait for opportunities, they prepare for them. Paying, because here's the truth, opportunities don't come to the unprepared. If the door opens and you're not ready to walk through it, paying, it will close and you may not see it again. So the declaration, "I attract opportunities daily," is both a faith statement and a responsibility reminder. Paying, it means you believe opportunities are coming and you are preparing so that when they come, you are ready to seize them. There's also a spiritual element to this. Paying, favor creates opportunities you didn't even earn. Doors open not because of your resume, because of your declaration and your faith. Paying, millionaires know that the marketplace is not just about transactions, it is about transformation. When they declare, opportunities are attracted to them. Paying, they are not only calling for business deals and investments, but also for relationships, wisdom, and insights, and moments of divine timing that can shift everything. Paying, so when you rise each day and declare, "I attract opportunities daily," you are not just speaking empty words. You are programming your mind to see, your spirit to believe, and your body to prepare. Over time, the world will begin to line up with your words. People will start calling you with ideas. Paying, deals will come looking for you instead of you chasing them. And you will find yourself saying, "I used to wonder where the opportunities were, but now they seem to find me everywhere." That is the power of a declaration aligned with disciplined action. Millionaires live by it. Paying, if you begin to declare it and believe it, you will too. Excuses are the invisible chains that keep most people bound in the same place year after year. The sad truth is that people will defend their excuses more passionately than they defend their potential. They will tell you why they can't, why it's not the right time. Paying, why the economy is bad, why they don't have support, why they're too young or too old. Excuses become the story they rehearse until it feels like reality. Paying, but millionaires think differently. They declare every morning, Paying, I am bigger than my excuses. That simple sentence breaks the cycle of self-sabotage because it places the responsibility for success back where it belongs, on their own shoulders. Excuses are small, but vision is big. Excuses shrink you, but purpose expands you. When you declare you are bigger than your excuses, paying, you are making a decision that nothing external will dictate your destiny. Paying, the difference between the person who succeeds and the one who fails is rarely resources. It's almost always resourcefulness. Two people can have the same background, the same disadvantages, the same lack of opportunity, yet one will rise while the other stays stuck. Why? Because one used excuses as a reason to stop paying and the other used them as a reason to push harder. Millionaires understand that excuses feel real, but they are not truth. They are stories the mind creates to justify an action. Every excuse is an argument for limitation, and if you win the argument, you lose the opportunity. Paying, that's why wealthy people eliminate excuses from their vocabulary. I say I can't. They say, how can I? They don't say, it's impossible. They say, it must be possible, I just need to find the way. This shift in language is powerful because your words determine your focus. Paying, your focus determines your future. Excuses are comfortable, but comfort zones are where dreams go to die. Most people never realize that the excuse they think is protecting them is actually preventing them from stepping into greatness. For example, someone says, paying, I don't have enough time, but the truth is everyone has the same 24 hours. The millionaire doesn't have more hours in a day, they just use theirs differently. Another person says, but don't have the money to start. But how many wealthy people began nothing but an idea and persistence? Money comes after value. Paying, not for when someone says, I don't have the connections. Yet in the digital, one message, one video, one introduction can change your entire network. And excuses sound reasonable, but they are lies disguised as logic. When you declare, I am bigger than my excuses, something shifts inside of you. Paying, you stop identifying with your limitations and start identifying with your possibilities. Paying, you stop telling stories about why it can't happen and start writing the story of how it will happen. Every great success story has obstacles, setbacks, and challenges. Paying, what separates millionaires is not the absence of problem, but the refusal to let problems become excuses. They face difficulties, but instead of shrinking, they rise. Instead of saying, this is too hard, they say, this challenge is the proof that I am growing stronger. But excuses also drain energy. The more you explain why you can't, the less energy you have to figure out how you can. Millionaires conserve their energy for solutions, not justifications. Paid is why they attract results, are not distracted by reasons, they are focused on results. When you make this declaration daily, paying, you are putting yourself in alignment with that same mindset. You are saying to yourself, no matter what shows up today, fear, doubt, inconvenience, can challenge him bigger than all of it. My vision outweighs my excuse. The truth is excuses don't disappear, you just get stronger than them. Paying, every time you take action of an excuse, you weaken its grip on your life. Every time you rise above it, paying, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you thought. Soon, paying, excuses lose their power because your actions created evidence that you don't need them anymore. That's how millionaires live. Paying, and that's how you must begin to live if you want to step into abundance. When you wake up tomorrow, instead of rehearsing all the reasons you can't, declare boldly, paying, I am bigger than my excuses. Let that be your reminder that nothing external has the power to stop you unless you give it permission. Paying, and when you stop giving excuses permission, you give yourself permission to win. Scarcity is a mindset, and so is abundance. Paying, two people can look at the exact same situation. One will see lack, the other will see overflow. The one who sees lack will shrink back, conserve, and hesitate. The one who sees abundance will step forward, create, and expand. This is why millionaires wake up every morning and declare, I live in abundance, and not scarcity. They understand that the world is not running out of wealth, opportunities, or resources. Paying, they know that there is more than enough for everyone who chooses to see it and sees it. Scarcity tells you there's only a slice of the pie left. But abundance says you can bake another pie, or better yet, open the whole bakery. Scarcity, the belief that resources are limited, and because of that, paying, people cling tightly to what little they have. They say, can't give because I'll run out. I can't invest because I might lose. Paying, I can't try because I might fail. That mindset keeps them small, but abundance declares, I can give because there's more coming. Paying, I can invest because my seed will grow. I can try because even if I fail, I will learn, and that lesson will multiply my future. The millionaire lives in overflow because they see overflow. They don't see doors closing, they see doors opening. They don't see lack, they see possibility. Their vision is not confined by scarcity because their declarations are rooted in abundance. When you wake up and declare, I live in abundance, not scarcity, you're training your mind to focus on opportunities instead of obstacles. You begin to notice resources, connections, pain and solutions that were available to you when you were focused on lack. Your words tune your awareness. If you keep saying, I can't afford it, your brain shuts down looking for ways to afford it. But if you say, I live in abundance, your brain goes to work finding strategies and creating opportunities and attracting provision. Scarcity paralyzes, abundance energizes. Scarcity keeps you stuck, abundance moves you forward. Pain, abundance is not just about money, it's about mindset in every area of life. Millionaires don't only declare financial abundance, they declare relational abundance, spiritual abundance, emotional and creative abundance. They believe their ideas are endless, their connections are limitless, and their opportunities are boundless. They see the world as overflowing with possibilities, and because of that, they move boldly. This mindset creates momentum. When you believe there's more, paying, you're not afraid to give, invest, or risk. And when you're willing to do those things, you attract even more. Paying, that's why the rich get richer, not just because they have more, but because they believe more. It is impossible to live in abundance while speaking scarcity. Paying, the words never, don't have, and not enough are the language of poverty. The words always, overflow, increase, and more than enough are the language of abundance. Millionaires discipline their speech to reflect overflow, not limitation. Even when circumstances look tough, they still declare abundance because they know their words create their world. Scarcity waits for conditions to improve before it believes. Abundance believes first and then conditions improve. When you choose abundance, pain, you no longer see other people's success as competition. Abundance sees collaboration. Scarcity says, if they win, I lose. Abundance says, if they win, I can win too. This is why millionaires often work together and multiply wealth collectively, paying, while those with scarcity mindsets isolate themselves and struggle. So every morning, make this declaration with conviction. I live in abundance, not scarcity. Say it until you believe it. Say it until you see it. Let it shift your perspective so you're starting like someone who expects overflow instead of someone who fears lack. Because the truth is, there is more than enough for you. Paying, more ideas, more opportunities, more resources, more wealth. The only thing that can keep you from abundance is the belief that it doesn't exist. Paying. But the moment you align your mind and your mouth with abundance, your life will begin to reflect it. That's why millionaires live in overflow. They don't just declare it. Paying, they believe it and act on it every single day. Money is one of the most powerful servants you will ever have, but it makes one of the worst masters you will ever serve. That is why millionaires wake up declaring, command money to work for me, not the other way around. They understand that money is a tool, not a god. Paying, too many people fall into the trap of serving, bowing down to it, worrying about it, chasing it, and making decisions based solely on it. When money is your master, paying, you will all lead fear of losing it, fear of not having enough, fear of being left behind. But when money is your servant, you walk in confidence, paying, because you know how to tell where to go, how to make it multiply, and how to make it work while you rest. Think about it this way, money was created to move, to circulate, paying, and to serve. It was never designed to be worshipped. When you see money as your master, you shrink, you compromise, and you sacrifice your values for the sake of a dollar. Paying, you start choosing jobs you hate, relationships you don't value, and lifestyles you can't stand, all because you're bowing to money. Paying, when you declare and decide that money works for you, the power dynamic shifts. You start choosing purpose over paycheck, impact over insecurity, and vision over desperation. Money becomes the fuel for your mission, not the chain that keeps you bound. Millionaires know that money is a tool to leverage. Paying, they don't just spend it, they deploy it. They give it assignments. They say, go buy me some freedom. Go purchase me some time. Paying, go create me more opportunities. And they send money into investments, businesses, and causes that multiply impact. Money in their hands is not stagnant. It is always moving and multiplying. People with a poverty mindset hoard money like it's their protector, but millionaires release it like it's their servant, paying and knowing it will come back with more. The hoarder is mastered by money because they fear losing it. Paying, the millionaire is master of money because they trust its ability to reproduce. Paying, another millionaires declare mastery over money is because they understand it carries emotion and energy. If you treat money with desperation, it will run from you. Treat money with fear, it will control you. But if you treat money with discipline, respect, and authority, it will work for you. Money is drawn to order. Pain. When you manage it, multiply it, and master it, it sticks around and grows. When you neglect it, overspend it, or ignore it, it slips through your fingers. Pain. That's why people who suddenly get rich and don't know how to master money often lose it quickly, because they never learn to command it. The truth is, money is neutral and has no morals, no loyalty, and no purpose until you give it one. In the hands of a servant, money will control them. In the hands of a master, money will serve generations. Millionaires see money as a soldier. They send it into battle every day to conquer more territory for their vision, their family, and their legacy. They are not afraid to let money go because they know it will come back with reinforcements. That's the mindset shift that separates wealthy thinkers from poor thinkers. So every morning you must declare with boldness, money works for me. I do not work for money. Not as a slogan, but as a command. Say it until your spirit believes it. Until your habits reflect it, and until your money obeys it. Start giving every dollar a purpose. Tell it where to go instead of wondering where it went. Stop chasing checks and start creating systems. Stop fearing bills and start building businesses. Stop worshiping money and start mastering it. Because here's the truth, if you don't master money, will master you. It will dictate your choices, your peace, your relationships, and your future. But if you stand up every day and declare mastery, then you put money back in its rightful place, as a servant to your vision. That is why millionaires never let money rule them. They rule money. They use it, multiply it, and command it to build their destiny. And that's exactly what you can do when you stop bowing the dollar and start commanding it to bow to you. Wealth is not built by holding on to what you have. It's built by multiplying what you have. Millionaires know this truth so deeply that every morning they declare, I invest in multiplication. They don't see money as something to be stored away like a trophy. They see it as seed. A seed in your hand will never grow if you keep it locked in a jar. But the moment you put that seed in the ground, water it, and nurture it, multiplies into a tree that bears fruit for years to come. That's the way millionaires think about money, knowledge, and relationships. They plant seeds so that the harvest is inevitable. Poor thinkers hoard because they fear losing. Wealthy thinkers sow because they expect increase. Hoarding keeps money stagnant, but investing sets money in motion. And anything that moves has the power to multiply. The declaration of multiplication means you're not satisfied with addition, you're not content with scraping by, and you're not aiming for survival. You are commanding exponential growth. When you invest your money in vehicles that bring returns, you are creating streams of income that flow while you sleep. When you invest in your own knowledge, you are multiplying your capacity to create, solve, and innovate. When you invest in relationships, you are multiplying your influence and opportunities. Millionaires don't think about what something costs. They think about what it can produce. They ask, if I put this in the ground, what will it bring back? That's why they don't hesitate to spend thousands on mentorship, books, courses, experiences that will sharpen them. They understand that one idea gained from that investment could create millions. On the other hand, people with a scarcity mindset see investment as loss. They say, I can't afford to spend this, while the millionaire says, I can't afford not to. Multiplication doesn't happen without planting. And planting doesn't happen without faith. Multiplication requires patience too. You don't sow a seed today and expect a tree tomorrow. You water it, nurture it, and protect it until the fruit shows up. Millionaires apply that same principle to their investments. They understand that building wealth is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a sow, water, and reap process. That's why they're willing to wait while others quit. They keep declaring multiplication even when the results are not immediate. Because they know harvest times. Another thing millionaires do is diversify their seeds. A farmer doesn't just plant one kind of seed in one spot. He spreads them in different fields so that no matter what happens, something will grow. Wealthy people invest in businesses, real estate, stocks, ideas, and people. They don't put all their trust in one stream because multiplication is about creating multiple flows. If one slows down, another is still bringing increase. That's how abundance sustains itself, through multiplied streams of provision. But here's the most important thing, millionaires also invest in people. They know that money without legacy is empty. They invest in mentors to pull them higher, and they invest in mentees to pull others higher. They multiply wisdom by sharing it. They multiply opportunities by creating them for others. They multiply wealth by using it to transform lives. Pain, this is why their wealth doesn't just sustain, it sustains generations. So when you rise in the morning, don't just say, I money. Say, I invest in multiplication. Start thinking like a sower, not a hoarder. Every dollar that comes into your hand, give it an assignment. Paying every opportunity that comes into your life, plan it with faith. Every connection that enters your path, nurture it with intention. Paying because what you plant in the ground of life will always come back greater than it left. The truth is, you cannot multiply what you refuse to release. Paying, and you cannot harvest what you refuse to plant. That's why millionaires live in overflow, because they live by the principle of multiplication. Paying, they don't just work for money, they make money work for them. They don't just consume, they cultivate. They don't just dream, they invest. Paying because they invest in multiplication, their wealth doesn't just add up, it compounds, it expands, it transforms. Wealth is not an accident, it is a birthright. Paying millionaires wake up each morning declaring, prosperity is my inheritance. They understand that wealth is not reserved for the lucky few. Paying, it is designed for those who know who they are and what they carry. Too many people have been conditioned to believe that struggle is their destiny, that lack is their portion. Paying, that poverty is somehow noble, but millionaires reject that lie. They understand that the creator of the universe is not broke, and if they are made in his image. Paying, then lack cannot be their identity. Prosperity is just money. It is wholeness, health, abundance, and increase in every area of life. Paying, it is the natural state of someone who knows their worth and walks in their purpose. When you believe wealth is your birthright, you stop apologizing for success. Paying, you stop shrinking when opportunities show up. You stop saying, I don't deserve this, and start saying, this is mine by inheritance. Think about an heir to a fortune. That heir doesn't beg for the wealth. They don't question if they deserve it. Paying, and they don't wonder if it belongs to them. They simply claim it because it was already written in the will. Paying, that is how millionaires see prosperity. They don't chase it, they claim it. They don't see it as a distant dream. They see it as a rightful inheritance. Paying, but inheritance must be claimed. Just because something belongs to you doesn't mean you automatically walk in it. Paying, there are countless people who live like paupers holding deeds to mansions. Why? Because they never learned how to lock what was already theirs. Paying, millionaires don't make that mistake. They claim their birthright through belief, declaration, and action. They declare every day that prosperity belongs to them. Paying, they align their mindset with abundance. And they act in faith, planting seeds, taking risks, and building systems that manifest what they already believe is theirs. Paying, when you live as though prosperity is your inheritance, you begin to operate differently. And you stop making desperate choices out of fear, start making bold moves out of faith. You stop competing with others for scraps and start collaborating to create more. You stop begging for opportunities and start creating them. That's because inheritance shifts your posture. You are no longer a beggar, you are an owner. Paying, think long-term. Owners protect assets. Owners build for the next generation. Paying, that is why millionaires are legacy-minded. They know prosperity doesn't just belong to them, it belongs to their children and their children's children. Paying, this belief in prosperity as inheritance also creates resilience. When setbacks come, people without this belief quit. But those who know prosperity is their birthright cannot quit, because they know the inheritance cannot be erased. They may lose temporarily. Paying, but they know their destiny is still abundance. This keeps them pressing forward while others give up. Their declaration is not based on what they see. It's based on who they are. And who they are is someone born to prosper. You must understand that poverty is not your identity. Struggle is not your permanent story. Paying, scarcity is not your final chapter. You are designed for multiplication, for dominion. But begins what you declare. If you say, I am broke, you align yourself with poverty. If you say, I live in prosperity, you align yourself with abundance. Your words activate your inheritance. That is why millionaires speak prosperity into existence every morning. They are simply calling in what is already theirs. So rise each day and declare with conviction, wealth is my birthright and prosperity is, don't just say it softly, say it like you mean it. Say it until your mind believes it, your actions reflect it. Paying, and your reality matches it. Prosperity is not something you have to beg for. It's nothing you have to steal. It's not something you have to manipulate to get. Paying, it is already yours by design, and the moment you believe it, declare it, and act on it, you will begin to walk in it. Paying, that is why millionaires live in abundance. They don't just chase prosperity, they claim it as their inheritance and live like it was written into their DNA.